be seated as Amara Qureshi, Interim Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, delivers the invocation.
Moments ago, each of you walked here as an individual, one foot in front of the other, a heart beating with anticipation. It is a feeling that is captured in the true meaning of the word awesome. You are looking back and looking ahead in the very same moment. You are simultaneously honoring your own efforts and the unseen efforts of everyone who helped you to get here today, going all the way back to the founders of this precious school. It is a feeling of gratitude for something beyond yourself and something within yourself. The intermingling of these is something we can call divine. In this transitional moment, we hold seeming dichotomies in our hands: past and future, pride and regret, happiness and sadness, anxiety and exhilaration. We breathe and affirm that we have arrived. We breathe and affirm that we arrived as a result of the inspiration and support of family, faculty, staff, friends within our field of view, and as a result of the power beyond our view, the unseen. We breathe and affirm that our next steps walking into the unknown are possible because visible and invisible forces carry us, assuring that with every hardship there is ease. Indeed, with every hardship there is ease. In this transitional moment, may we offer gratitude to the ones who gave us ease through these hardships. May we celebrate how we have learned through our failures and our triumphs. May we relish the thrills and wonder of our college years. May we breathe and soak in the magnificence of this community and this very special home we call Wellesley. Amen.
Thank you, Dean Qureshi. On behalf of the trustees, faculty, staff, alumni, and the Wellesley class of 2019, I welcome you to the college's 141st commencement exercises. It is a joy to greet you today. What an extraordinary morning to join together in celebration. To the incredible Yellow class of 2019, today you join a remarkable lineage of Wellesley alumni committed to making a difference in the world, to being the change you want to see. This may be, well, the last time you are all together. Take time to breathe that in. And remember, wherever life takes you next, you share a lifelong connection to each other and to Wellesley College. Behind today's smiling faces lie countless hours of hard work, passion, and dedication, both in the classroom and far beyond. All of you have shown sustained excellence, and we are so proud of you. At the same time, each of you has also benefited from the gifts of many others: family, friends, mentors, allies, and supporters. To those who are here today as guests, thank you for the support you've offered and the sacrifices you've made so that these students could walk across this stage today. We are so glad you are here to witness their achievement. A special welcome to those among you who are yourselves Wellesley alumni. You know this moment well. I also want to acknowledge the many who could not be present today. Among them are 6 members of the class of 2019, now representing Wellesley at the NCAA National Championships in crew this weekend. We are so proud of them, and I will give you a little update. Because of weather, the race was postponed till 2 this afternoon. I think, too, of beloved family and friends unable to travel for whatever reason: illness, expense, an unavoidable conflict, or other barriers to travel. I think of those who've passed on from this life, but remain with us in spirit. You are not forgotten. We honor and thank you. This is the 3rd time I've had the honor of presiding over a Wellesley commencement ceremony, and once again, I stand in awe. Once again, I am filled with hope and a sense of possibility. Class of 2019, it's fitting that you are the yellow class. You shine forth like the sun. This day is your day. We could not be happier for you. So now I am so pleased to invite to the stage co-presidents of the class of 2019, Alex Q and Dominique Guang, to introduce the student speaker. Alex and Dominique.
Thank you, President Johnson.
Hello, class of 2019. What an honor to stand up here today and speak to you all. We've made it to the big day. That's an incredible achievement at this uniquely challenging place.
Wellesley demands an extraordinary amount of growth. Wellesley breaks you down, but it builds you back up stronger. And so here we are, ready to bring that new strength to what comes next.
We are deeply thankful to have been able to take this journey with all of you. Every one of you has taken a different path to get here. Some of you spent 4 years at Wellesley, some less, some more. Some traveled less than 30 miles to get here. Others traveled over 3,000.
Some of you spent countless late nights thesising in clap. Some of you spent countless late nights partying in the pub. Many of you did both. And now, at the end of the day, here we all sit together. It reminds us how grateful we are to have been able to share this with you.
It has been our honor to serve you on class council for the past 4 years. Through thick and thin, you've turned what could have been just a responsibility into a wonderful, fulfilling experience. So thank you all for that.
And now for our last act as class council. If there's one person in the class of 2019 who understands the Wellesley experience in every dimension, it's our class speaker. She's an anthropology and cinema and media studies double major. She's worked for the Wellesley Center of Women and has served as an RA in Schaefer Hall. You may have seen her working away in the Schaefer basement on her thesis or presenting her photographs at Together Alone, the senior art exhibition.
This student is described by her major advisor as a rare combination of otherworldly intelligence, immense social grace, and unbridled creativity. She is a sophisticated writer and thinker with wisdom beyond her years, and her thesis reflects the work of a true intellectual and humanitarian.
Kavi fills any space she's in with joy and positivity. She fights for what she believes in, and best of all, she works passionately to transform the communities around her for the better.
We're so pleased to present our 2019 Student Commencement speaker, Kavindya Thennakoon.
Thank you. I feel like it's the Oscars, even though it isn't. To the members of the Board of Trustees, President Paula Johnson, distinguished speaker Professor Anita Hill, faculty, staff, family, and the graduating class of 2019. The strongest, most inspiring woman that I have ever met in my life, my mother, isn't here today. She was excited to make her first trip out of the country to see the first person in her family graduate. But unfortunately, her visa to enter the United States was denied. This speech is a tribute to women like my mother, who moved oceans so that we can sail on smoother seas. Thank you. In my little island home of Sri Lanka, we have a time-honored tradition where during auspicious moments like coming of age, the new initiate is often given 7 gifts, each gift bearing sacred significance that is thought to provide one with peace, purpose, and clarity as they transition from the old to the new. So on this 141st rite of passage the Severance Green has witnessed, I thought it was apt to give all of you 7 gifts each. 7 gifts that I have carefully picked over these past 4 wonderful years at Wellesley. My first gift is the gift of the freshness of those first times. I remember coming to Wellesley in September 2015, 2 red luggage bags in tow, 8,578 miles away from home, alone, wide-eyed, homesick, but insanely excited to live my best American dream. What I remember from that day was the dining hall in Lulu. There were 4 different types of pizza, 5 different types of ice cream, 6 different types of cereal, and an unlimited supply of Coca-Cola. For someone for whom 3 meals per day was sometimes a luxury, that was magic. I still go to Lulu sometimes and try to remind myself of that sheer feeling of fascination. And I hope that as you venture forth into the world beyond, you keep the freshness of those precious first times real and alive in your heart. My second gift is a permission to be vulnerable. During our time here, some of us lost family, parted ways with old friends, broke up with high school boyfriends for other, more accomplished women. We lost, we cried, and we wished it would be the last. More often, we were asked to just move on. But Wellesley taught us that we never move on from failure or grief. We simply move forward with it. This is the gift to talk authentically and boldly about our failures and to celebrate everything from the internships that never got back to you to the Tinder matches that never swipe right and everything between that is yet to come. Celebrate it all and move forward with it. My third gift to you is the permission to forget your GPA. and just throw it off into the murky depths of Lake Wabun, just like we did with that penny when we moved into our first-year dorms. We spent close to 1,364-ish days pulling out our hairs, wondering if we might ever graduate, summa cum laude, whatever the rest of that is called. But in the grand scheme of things, nobody really cares. For the rest of you who will be applying for your PhDs and MFAs and MBAs, too bad for you. But for the rest of us, you can finally make peace with that Wellesley professor across the aisle who made us go all the way to MIT just to bump up our GPAs. My fourth gift is for my first-generation siblings in the audience today. We played on an uneven playing field. We applied for internships when we didn't even know what a referral meant. We listened to our peers discuss citation styles with their parents when we were too busy discussing the best way to send money home so that our parents can pay their rent. We did not even understand the concept of office hours because for many of us, asking for help was most often not an option. My gift to you is the courage to unapologetically take up space and to audaciously own it because we made it. We really did. My fifth gift to you is a realization that even though many of us came here with the hope that we will someday save the world, somewhere between Jewett and the Science Center, Wellesley taught us that many of us would not end up saving the world. But we would end up doing something way more humble and pragmatic, and that is to radically transform the communities that we come from. From the rural classrooms in Minnesota and Indonesia to the elections that we will run from the parliament in Sri Lanka to the US Congress right here, from the communities that we will mobilize as we fight for the rights of our trans siblings across the world. To the voices that we raise as we fight for freedom in Palestine. We will transform communities big and small. And I hope this gift reminds you to always, always speak truth to power, to make space for the difficult conversations, to always ask the uncomfortable questions, and to not only speak loudly, but to listen boldly. Just like the pearl necklace that reminds one of home, my sixth gift to you is of Lake Wabun. When you're in a lonely bus stop in New York or New Delhi with a broken heart and a cold cup of coffee, or when you were mansplained for the 26th time and the glass ceiling seems stronger than ever before, I hope that you will close your eyes and think of Lake Wabun at 5:30 p.m. on a beautiful day in April. Remember how every time its gentle waves get turned back by the fringes of Wellesley, it just keeps coming back. Every day, every night, to kiss it goodbye. And I hope that reminds you that there is a home for you here among us, no matter how rough and vicious the seas will get. My last gift to you is a story and a request. In 2015, I was an ordinary girl with ideas larger than myself, working 3 jobs, living in a 4x4 room, trying to make ends meet. College was just a nice, fancy, distant dream. An incredible mentor who I had the chance to work for sat me down one day and told me, Kavi, a college degree would really change things for you, and I think Wellesley would be the perfect fit. My response obviously was, what is Wellesley? Followed by a cursory Google search where the cost of attendance made me immediately regret the 3 minutes I had even spent thinking. To cut a long story short, a tribe of incredible Wellesley women banded together to make this moment possible. I sat in my first-year triple in Schaefer that night and called my mentor, overwhelmed with disbelief and gratitude. And I asked her, how could I ever repay you back? Antonia DeMille, class of '89, who's right there in the audience today, told me these words. She said, one day you will meet someone just like you, with dreams larger than themselves, but without the means to make them a reality. Make Wellesley possible for them and pass this forward. And that is my final ask from you. Let's try to make Wellesley possible for someone else. As Anita Hill did in 1991, and as Nora Ephron reminded us right here in 1996, let's go out there and make some trouble. Congratulations to the class of 2019.
Kavindya, thank you so much. Thank you for those 7 amazingly profound and wonderful gifts. I know that they will stay with your classmates and they will stay with all of us for quite some time to come. Thank you. The Panansky Teaching Prize for Excellence, the Panansky Prize for Excellence in Teaching is awarded each year to honor members of our faculty who have demonstrated excellence as teachers. When we consider how Wellesley professors routinely innovate and inspire in their classrooms, to be selected for this prize must be seen as an especially outstanding achievement. As the class of 2019 can attest, and as I can affirm, Wellesley's faculty are immensely dedicated and talented educators, researchers, scholars, artists, and mentors. Throughout the year, in my conversations with our students and alumni, there is one constant: their eagerness to tell me their story of how a Wellesley professor changed their life and helped them achieve breakthroughs, both academic and personal. So from all of us assembled here today to the Wellesley College faculty, we thank you for your commitment to education, to the education of the class of 2019. According to the rules for the prize, the finalists are selected by a student-faculty committee on the basis of nominations from students, faculty, and staff. Today, we recognize these 3 faculty: Kimberly Casabry, Associate Professor of Art, Sue Hong, Associate Professor of Education, and Jacqueline Hatala Mathis, Assistant Professor of Biologic Science. Are all 3 here? Oh, Jacqueline is coming this way. I will now read excerpts from Kimberly Cassabree's citation. For Professor Cassabree, the past is never dead, or even past. She brings antiquities to life, exploring how the art and architecture of the ancient Mediterranean and Mesopotamia can illuminate and inform our understanding of international relations and the experience of empire. Professor Cassabree's classroom is a place for students to see antiquities through many lenses, not just as material artifacts that have survived time, but as cultural objects imbued with meaning and narratives that continue to shape national identities and international policies. She held every one of us accountable for mastering the material and the ideology that was being shaped by the art itself, said one student. We were encouraged to see both the ancient and modern connections for every piece of art we examined. Professor Cassabree's research challenges ancient and modern ethnic stereotypes, and as a teacher, she is committed to cultivating a diverse and equitable learning environment. She encourages us to acknowledge our own identities and how our unique perspectives can contribute to the field in ways that we have never considered. Professor Cassabree has dedicated herself to opening up the field to diverse ideas. Professor Cassabree centers students' voices and prioritized discussion in her class. As many of her students attest, in her teaching, Professor Cassabree is precise, thorough, and captivating. Professor Cassabree's Pompeii class is the light of my semester, says a student who elected art history as her major because of her. The fact that someone would declare an entire major just to take advantage of a singular professor is indicative of that professor's deep vitality to the college. For the care, inspiration, and compassion she demonstrates in the classroom, for enlivening the past as well as the present, and for helping every student feel supported, empowered, and engaged, it is an honor to present Kimberly Cassabree with the Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. I will now read excerpts from Sue Hong's citation. Professor Hong turns talk about equity, justice, and inclusive excellence into action on a daily basis. Her pedagogy and co-curricular programming exemplify her commitment to teaching and learning in ways that respond to students' diverse experiences and that better equip students to respond to the specific needs of the communities in which many will work. As one student explains, she takes the traditional classroom space, a space that has historically excluded marginalized experiences, and puts into practice the more inclusive type of pedagogy that she teaches about in her courses, that of culturally sustaining pedagogy. Professor Hong encourages and inspires her students through rigorous, innovative assignments and pushes them to consider what theories on school reform look like in practice. She has asked students to create multimedia projects featuring interviews about the educational experiences of their family and community members, brought her class to meet the students who helped organize the Boston Public School walkouts over education funding cuts, and encourage students to attend conferences on education for social justice. Professor Hong is unceasingly inviting and inclusive with her students and colleagues. As one student remarks, there's always tea or coffee brewing in her office. An avid NBA fan, she has invited whole classes to her home to watch Celtics games and also hosts brunches and dinners to celebrate student teaching achievements and graduate school acceptances. As one student put it, she is an advisor, a mentor, a professor, a role model, and a friend. For her commitment to teaching in ways that respond to students' diverse experiences, and her efforts to make connections between the classroom and the community, it is an honor to present Sue Hong with the Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. I'll now read excerpts from Jacqueline Hatala Mathis's citation. Whether in the classroom or in the lab, Professor Mathis is dedicated to making biology exciting and accessible to all students, regardless of major or previous exposure to the field. Professor Mathis's teaching fosters students' appreciation for the intricacy of ecosystem ecology, highlighting the complex coupling between the Earth's organisms and their physical environment. Whether she's teaching introductory organismal biology, advanced ecosystem ecology, or biological modeling, she is involved and thoughtful, clear and direct. She is the embodiment of the highest standard of instruction, one student said. Her labs are a transformative experience, said another. Professor Mathis is deeply committed to highlighting professionalization opportunities for her students and to encouraging them in their research and publication efforts. She helps students hone their elevator pitches for their projects, hosts question and answer sessions on research publication process, connects her students with her graduate advisees, hosts research modeling crash course sessions, and coaches students as they write their resumes. She also finds time to host cookie decorating parties and brunch in her home. As one student explains, Professor Mathis isn't just a principal investigator. She is a mentor. She makes it known that she was always available to talk about biology, ecology, Wellesley, or anything else on our minds. For encouraging women to envision successful futures in science, the kindness and consideration with which she approaches her students, and her commitment to their intellectual and professional development, it is an honor to present Jacqueline Hatala Mathis with the annual Anna and Samuel Pinansky Teaching Prize. It is our tradition at commencement to announce the names of faculty being recognized with new appointments to endowed chairs. Today, we recognize 6 faculty members. An appointment to an endowed chair is a significant milestone in the academic life of a professor. It recognizes scholarly distinction and honors service to the college and to one's profession. I will ask these faculty to stand and remain standing so that we can congratulate them. Please hold your applause until I've read the names of all of these distinguished faculty members. Kelly Carter Jackson, Knaufel Assistant Professor of Humanities. Jennifer Chudy, Knaufel Assistant Professor of Social Sciences. Sue Hong, Whitehead Associate Professor of Critical Thought. Michael Jeffries, Class of 1949, Chair in Ethics. Anjali Prabhu, Margaret E. Daffenberg and Leroy T. Carlson Professorship in Comparative Literature. And Adam Van Arsdale, Class of 1966, Associate Professorship. Congratulations. Today, we honor 8 faculty who are retiring this year, as well as 2 who retired last year. We have benefited in countless ways from their lifelong dedication to their students, their colleagues, and to the mission of this institution. Through their instruction, research, creative work, and service to the college over many decades, they leave a legacy that will be felt for years to come. We will greatly miss them, but they will always be part of our community. It is my great honor to recognize these faculty members, all leaders in their respective fields, accomplished scholars or artists, and inspirational educators. Retiring faculty, please stand while I read your names, and everyone please hold your applause to the end. I will honor the faculty retiring this year first, followed by those who retired last year. Bridget Belgiavini, athletics. In her 13 years as athletic director and chair of Para, Bridget Belgiavini has been an inspirational leader for her Para colleagues, for Wellesley student athletes, and for faculty and staff across the institution. As the athletic department's leader, she helped thousands of students develop a commitment to wellness, to competition, and to sportsmanship, honing skills and values that far outlast their time on our campus. During her tenure, 2 varsity student athletes won NCAA individual national championships. The crew program claimed the college's first NCAA team championship, and Wellesley teams earned 18 conference championships, as well as the college's first ever Conference President's Cup. John S. Cameron, Biological Sciences. Professor Cameron is widely respected and a prolific comparative animal physiologist who specializes in the environmental physiology of cold-blooded animals and the mechanisms by which they withstand environmental extremes. He engaged, it is pretty cool. He engaged countless students in the methods and protocols of cutting-edge research, and also introduced generations of students to organismal biology in courses at all levels of the curriculum. Many of Professor Cameron's students have completed honors theses in his lab, even more pursued independent study, and several have their work published in scientific journals. After serving his department, the Science Center, and the college with great distinction, Professor Cameron has also dedicated himself in recent years to the preservation of the college's historic legacy in science and pedagogy. Thank you. Margaret Carroll, art. For nearly half a century, Professor Carroll has been a devoted member of the art department. Her exacting research in the field of 16th and 17th century Dutch and Flemish painting illuminates how that period's painters portrayed the shifting power dynamics between men and women, rulers and subjects. Professor Carroll worked tirelessly to create opportunities for her students to engage with art firsthand on campus and far beyond. Her dedication as an instructor was exemplified by a 2015 trip that she took with her seminar students to Amsterdam to visit a once-in-a-lifetime exhibition of late paintings, prints, and drawings by Rembrandt. Thank you. Sylvain Aigron-Sparrow, French. Professor Aigron-Sparrow has distinguished herself as a gifted and inspired teacher of French language, literature, and film. Inside and outside of the classroom, her high energy and creativity inspired her students to challenge themselves and exceed their own expectations. She has promoted the study of French language and culture throughout her service to the college and made particularly valuable contributions to the French House here on campus, and to the college's outstanding study abroad program, Aix-en-Provence. Thank you. Julie Mathai, Economics. Since 1978, Professor Mathai has been asking her students and colleagues to probe existing economic systems and challenge dominant paradigms. Professor Mathai's classroom was always a discussion-centered space of cooperation, democracy, and equity. She inspired countless students to imagine and articulate innovative solutions to some of the most pressing issues of our time. Her scholarly work on race and gender in the economy has been central to the field of feminist economics. Thank you. Carolyn Morley, Theater Studies and Japanese. Professor Morley played a foundational role in the introduction of Japanese language and literature to Wellesley's curriculum and directed the Japanese program for its first 2 decades. Throughout her career, she engaged her students through her rigorous multidisciplinary teaching, expertly combining Japanese language, poetry, history, and theater in the classroom. Beyond the classroom, she brought professional Japanese theatrical performances to campus, while in her scholarship, she published widely in the field of Japanese theater. Thank you. Philomena Steady, Africana Studies. Professor Steady has spent her remarkable career as a leader in the field of Africana Studies and is a globally recognized expert on women and development. Her work has helped illuminate how local communities shape and are shaped by the globalized world and has provided a new roadmap for women's leadership. Since coming to Wellesley over 20 years ago, she has played a critical role in educating a new generation of women leaders and in bringing a new generation of Africana Studies scholar teachers to the college. She was also instrumental in the establishment of Wellesley's Environmental Studies program. Thank you. Maurizio Viajo, Cinema and Media Studies. As a consummate generalist, Professor Viano found nearly everything a potential subject for exploration and examination over the course of his 34 years of teaching at Wellesley. After teaching for many years in the Italian department, he helped pioneer the teaching of Cinema and Media Studies, a program he co-founded and directed. His use of video essays connected theory with production and ingeniously merged humanities and technology. Professor Viano threw all of his energy into the classroom, developing innovative assignments that push students to learn to communicate across multiple forms of media. Thank you. Marty Magid, Mathematics. For 40 years, Professor Magid has researched intricacies of differential geometry and guided students in their exploration of subjects such as analysis, algebra, and probability. A highly respected and very prolific researcher, he collaborated with partners around the world to push the boundaries of mathematical knowledge. In the classroom, Professor Magid took pride in his dedication to providing the highest caliber of instruction and to teaching with equal effectiveness at all levels of the curriculum. Thank you. Suzanne Stumpf, Music. For more than 3 decades, Professor Stumpf has led students in the study of modern and Baroque flute. She used her talent and love of teaching to instill passion for chamber music in her students, and always sought to empower and inspire them to grow as musicians. As concert manager for the department, she routinely developed interdisciplinary performances that heightened the rich gifts of performing faculty. For your many years of service and for the profound impact that each of you has had on our students and on this community, you have our deepest gratitude. Thank you, each and every one of you. And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Brandeis University professor Anita Hill. It's been almost 3 decades since Professor Hill's testimony before an all-male U.S. Senate committee riveted the world. Many of you, including this year's graduates, had not been born yet. That she nonetheless emerged as this year's choice speaks to the ongoing influence of her voice those many years ago. When Anita Hill graduated from Yale Law School in 1980, she could not have imagined what the future held, nor the impact she would have. Today, she is widely seen as having paved the way for today's Me Too activism, and more broadly, how we think and talk about workplace harassment. Her incisive observation that I had a gender and he had a race encapsulates the long overdue awareness of how our identities are interwoven, what's known as intersectionality. Her courageous decision to speak truth to power still ripples through our culture. But to focus on this single historic moment is to miss the larger lessons of Anita Hill's life. These lie to either side of history, the before and the after. Professor Hill did not choose to be a public figure, nor did she want to. She had sought to put a painful past behind her. She valued her privacy, a peaceful life, job security, and safety. Yet these were not her only values, nor in the end, those that won out. When called on to speak out for the greater good, she chose truth and public service. Because of what's transpired in 1991, Anita Hill is now a household name, forever linked in the public mind to a man she took great pains to distance herself from. And this isn't fair. It shouldn't have happened, and yet it did. And in this unfolding, we see the human condition. So much of life is beyond our control. Things happen to us that should not have happened. Faced with this reality, what will we do? Will we stay locked in the past, or do we find a way to thrive, to construct a meaningful life from what we are given? This is the choice Anita Hill made, and her life is a testament to the power of this perspective. When ongoing harassment made her job at the EEOC untenable, she made a transition to academia where her life and career has flourished. In 1989, she became the first tenured Black professor at the University of Oklahoma's College of Law. Today, she holds a prestigious appointment at Brandeis University, where she is the University Professor of Social Policy, Law, and Women and Gender and Sexuality Studies, and teaches courses on gender, race, social policy, and legal history. Throughout, she has sought, and here I quote, to help people find their voices to talk about the issues that keep them from living their lives fully and as equals. Never has this mission mattered more. In addition to her acclaimed memoir, Speaking Truth to Power, Professor Hill is the author of the 2011 book, Reimagining Equality, Stories of Gender, Race, and Finding Home, and numerous articles. Among her many awards and honors, I'm proud to say that she has served as a visiting scholar at Wellesley from 2007 to 2008, affiliated with our Newhouse Center for the Humanities and the Wellesley Centers for Women. In Speaking Truth to Power, Professor Hill talks of how she drew strength from these famous words of Eleanor Roosevelt, long displayed on her office door. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Through her, we have seen what it looks like to live this exhortation, And now, please join me in welcoming Professor Anita Hill.
Good afternoon. Or is it good afternoon? It's still morning. Good morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, of course, I want to thank President Johnson for that generous introduction, but I also want to thank her for her leadership here at Wellesley and in the higher education community at large. We are so grateful that she took on the role of president of Wellesley College 3 years ago. To the board of trustees, Provost Shannon, faculty and staff who made this commencement ceremony possible, thank you. And also accept my thanks for warmly welcoming me to your campus community. I have been here, I feel like I've been here for days now, but only for a few hours. And I feel like I'm a part of this. But of course, my big thank you goes to the graduating class. I am humbled by your decision to invite me to be your commencement speaker. So thank you for that. And I will just say this. I proudly accept the privilege of addressing the extraordinary Wellesley College class of 2019. Now, this is truly the best day on any academic institution's calendar. Is it not? Graduation day? Now, it comes with a lot of ceremony and celebration, but that's not really why it's so special, and I'll get to that sooner. But a close second is the day you step foot on this campus. Most of you will remember it. But you'll remember perhaps more all of the things that transpired while you were here. Since arriving, you've eagerly approached the opportunity to learn, to grow, to challenge your own way of thinking and engage with others as they challenge theirs. You have proven that you are up to the expectations placed upon you when you got your admissions letter. In short, you've graduated. But there's more to it than that. Many of you came to this campus looking for an inclusive community where you could be your authentic selves. You were looking to find your voice, and you have found both a place where you can be yourself and exercise your voice. You have learned to live and learn, and you've also learned to lead. When struggles have tested your resolve, you reached out and you found the resources you need, or maybe they found you. Maybe you even had to explain to some people exactly what you needed to be your true self here on campus. Either way, you overcame the obstacles that always appear when we are trying to achieve something bigger than ourselves. And of course, there were the personal struggles, and there have been references to them before. Your class speaker was so eloquent about them. Kavi told you about the struggles that you've had, the relationships that have soured or didn't happen at all. Sick parents or grandparents, your own health issues, death, and financial struggles. In facing those, I know that many of you did the wise thing. You sought help when you needed it, or you accepted help when it was offered to you. And sometimes you had to explain exactly what help you needed. but that came from knowing who you are, knowing yourself, and knowing your value. And very importantly, you gave help to others when they needed help. So before I go on, I just want you to do this for me. I always like to start with thank yous, and so I want to give you the chance to say thank you. To your classmates and to yourselves, give a hand. Thank you for being there. And to those people here today, teachers, staff, family, and friends who stood by you, who provided the structures of support that you needed, who listened to your stories when you thought no one would hear, and helped you to continue to believe in yourself so that you could succeed. Also, give a hand. You will take away from Wellesley many lessons. Be sure that you take with you a real appreciation for what you have experienced here, a real appreciation for the value of being an active member of a supportive community. Please remember, as you leave, to pass this on, pass it forward wherever you go. But also remember to give back so that future students can enjoy an even better experience than the one that you've had. Today, you may be a little uneasy, because this is a transition period. The fascinating and fantastic adventure that you have had here is about to come to an end. And the world that you're going out into is uncertain, at best. So maybe you're a little or a lot uneasy, leaving the familiar and entering into a world that is exciting and filled with new possibilities, but is also downright scary at times. There are those who would have you believe that the social, economic, and political issues we face are best resolved by pitting individuals and groups against each other. No matter how tempting it becomes, resist that thinking. This may be the most diverse community some of you have ever lived in, but do not let this be the last diverse community you are a part of. Even as we've seen hate crimes rise, more hate is not the answer. No matter where you live or work, or go to school, for those of you who are continuing your education, you can always make the choice to engage in inclusion. It is a choice that you have, and it is one that I urge. Just as you must reject isolationism, you must also resist cynicism in these troubling times. Taking stock of the world today, I know that you are going to sometimes be disheartened. In my work, I get discouraged. But when I take the long view, I see not only how far we have to go, I also see how far we've come. I never believe that the status quo is inevitable, and you shouldn't either. Nor should you believe that we have to go back to an even more regressive time. We can move forward, and we will. So typically, for people, when we talk about the long view, It means not focusing on the present and keeping long-term goals in sight. But as I am a descendant of a people who just a few generations before me had no rights, I take a different position. As the first generation in my family to attend college, and some of you are there too, give yourself a applause, give yourself a hand. So I start at a different place than many when I think about the long view. I start by looking back. And I start with today with my maternal grandmother, born in 1874 in rural Texas. And she, by virtue of her race and location, was never offered a public education and never learned to read or write. She had her first child when she was 14 and went on to give birth to 13 other children, 3 of whom died before they reached the age of 4. She had little control over her own body, whether for work or childbearing, and few resources to devote to her children's health. But my grandmother, Ida, had joy and independence. Though married to a church deacon, my grandfather, Henry, and with sister-in-laws who were ministers, she loved to dance. And she did dance. And she boasted about dancing. Perhaps she saw the prospect of a better future for her future, and maybe the dancing was a sign of the joy of what she hoped would come about for them. Perhaps she saw the prospect when no one else did. So even in the midst of desperate times of rank bigotry and little hope for change, my grandmother took the long view. She saw to it that her children, including my mother, born in 1911, went on to school. My mother, who had her first child when she was 16, had me when she was 44. She, like her mother, and even though racism and sexism overshadowed our opportunities, Irma Hill, my mom, scrimped and scraped to give her children their chance to attend college. And while my father was not completely convinced that education was really the way out for his children, he got the picture and went along with her vision. And with her 6th grade education, my mother modeled lifelong learning, and in her own way, taught me how to learn, to live, and to lead. She read throughout her life, mostly the Bible or her Sunday school book, Reader's Digest as well. I don't even know that it exists anymore. But she also read our local newspaper to keep herself informed. And she wrote letters to me regularly during my college years, chronicling farm, church, and family life. And though she passed away years ago, when I read her letters, I hear her voice and the lessons that she was teaching me, perhaps not even knowing, and preparing me for the life that I have today that is so vastly different from hers. But as I read her letters and I think about both her and her mother, I wonder what all my grandmother and mother might have said and done with their lives, about their lives, had they had the language and the liberty to speak. My mother and grandmother inspire me to dig deeply to find the truth, because I know that there are so many voices like theirs yet to be heard. Now, when I was where you are here today, I knew the world wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect for me. It certainly hadn't been perfect for my mother or my grandmother. But I believed in that moment in 1973 when I started college, and in 1977 when I graduated from college, I believed we were on the verge of monumental change. I believed that the movements of the 60s and 70s would allow us to sprint toward equality for all, that we could end racism and we could end sexism and poverty could be vanquished. I was idealistic, but as a beneficiary of a hard-won battle to make this a more inclusive country in the form of Brown versus the Board of Education, I knew then that change is possible. Well, we still have lots of work to do. And what I once thought was a sprint to equality has turned out not to be so. I no longer even think it is a marathon. I now see it as a relay. And I now see that the baton that will point the way to social justice must be passed from generation to generation. And it must continue no matter how long it takes us to reach our goal. As our understanding of what true equality means has expanded, we now know that my parents' generation definition of equality and the tactics that worked in the 20th century must evolve to address the challenges of the 21st century. By necessity and through knowledge, the categories that we once thought were set have expanded. Discrimination based on race, gender, and poverty was something that we thought those were our touch points. And now we know that we must address discrimination based on gender, sexual identity, gender identity, race, disability, class, age, and religion. Because what we know is that inequalities are complex and they are entrenched, maybe much more than we had imagined. We need new thinking. And where gender violence is concerned, the challenges are immense. I cannot sugarcoat it. The numbers speak for themselves. The National Institutes of Health have noted that since college entry, 22% of students report experiencing at least one incident of sexual assault. Women and non-binary students reported the highest rates, 28% and 38% respectively. Although men experience less, men experience 12.5% of men also report sexual assault. Now, if these figures were attached to any other condition, we would all hear our government saying, this is a public crisis. But we must call it for what it is, a public crisis that needs to be addressed. And unfortunately, sexual harassment, abuse, and assault do not end with college days. A recent anonymous Department of Defense survey revealed that between 2016 and 2018, sexual harassment and assault in our military rose by 38%. And according to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, in 2018, charges alleging sexual harassment increased by more than 12% from fiscal year 2017. And maybe the rise can be attributed to the fact that more people are coming forward. But what we also know is that sexual assault, sexual harassment are underreported. So really, we do not know exactly how many people are being affected by this kind of conduct. And yet, there are those who would have us believe that the stories and statistics showing the prevalence of sexual misconduct are a hoax. They prefer to believe in their own myths, often misogynist, about the behavior. And despite the evidence, sexual misconduct deniers have friends in high places. But not just that place. One high-profile pundit criticized campus assault policies as the invention of progressive feminists to promote victimhood as a coveted status. And deniers and enablers, as we know from the news, include boards, corporate leaders, and attorneys who engage in symbolic compliance and refuse to reform the cultures and structures that support sexual harassment, abuse, and exploitation in their own institutions when they know they exist. So the problem is not just the behavior, it's the enabling that goes along with it. But we are fortunate. We outnumber them. We outnumber them. We are louder than they are. Are we? And we are ready to take them on. Now, it's tempting when you hear denial and you hear misinformation and disinformation to scream at your computers or your newspapers or your television sets, but you probably don't resort to those things. I still do. But here's where we are today, and this is what I want you to remember. We cannot squander the powerful voices of the millions whose individual and collective voices have become known as the Me Too movement. We cannot squander this moment. We must use the energy and the awareness that they have raised by bravely sharing their stories and laying to rest the lie that sexual misconduct is efficient. The Me Too movement of 2017 was enabled by social scientists and legal scholars and millennial campus activists, like many of you today. It was birthed by Tarana Burke in 2006. It has been supported. It didn't just happen by itself. It happened as a cultural eruption of work that has been done for decades, and much of it on our college campuses. You, the class of 2019, has benefited from Kimberly Crenshaw's work, educating us all about intersectionality. And because of that work, many in the Me Too movement were able to show that skin color, economic class, and gender and sexual identity can shape whether women are believed and how institutions respond to them when they are believed, and if they are believed. The Me Too movement engaged men in the campaign to end sexual violence by allowing them the space to talk about their own sexual abuse and forcing all of us to abandon noxious and dangerous notions about masculinity that serve no one. By capturing the language and taking command of a stage that had been hostile to women's voices, the internet, the movement allowed an unprecedented public conversation to happen. For me, the movement became the bridge to what can become the policies and practice that eradicate gender violence once and for all. But our leaders must engage and respond by passing laws to protect against it and to prevent it from happening. And yes, for those of you who are attorneys out there, yes, we can pass the laws to protect victims and allow victims to become survivors. We can pass the laws to protect victims without violating the rights of the accused, and we will and we must. So in passing the baton, I want to talk about you, the class of 2019, and this is where you come in. So the movement to end gender violence is just the start. There must be new movements that tell the truth about our experiences and point the way to solutions in many arenas. There must be a truth in science movement. Your generation of scientists must bridge the science divide that excludes the participation of people based on their marginalized identities. Professor Evelyn Hammond has called it out as one of the greatest threats to equality that we face today, the science divide. And I could not agree more. But I also look out and I see in the faces of the scientists, those of you who are graduating with a degree in science, and those who are moving on to gain other degrees. I see the ability to take on this challenge and have a movement and lead a movement of your own. Are you up for it? Now, many of you have had the privilege of learning what it means to be a Marxist, feminist, anti-racist, ecological economist in Professor Mathai's classroom. So I know that you are ready to lead the truth in economics movement. Will you be the economist who will develop new ways of modeling and measuring economic contributions across gender diversity? Will you be the economist who will close the gender-race wealth gap? I see you, I see the future, and I see it's possible. A truth in psychology movement, and psychology was my major, so I want you here, could shine a light on the need for healing individuals and fixing institutions. Fixing institutions that perpetuate the harm caused by disparities, and healing individuals who experience them. We have not begun to tap into our understanding of the real price of disparities and disadvantage in our country. And that's where you come in. So my psychologists, my fellow psychologists in the room, thank you for what you're going to do in the future. So, I also know that we have got to do more than use the language and the ideas that we have had enjoyed for the last 10, 15 years, and you have been schooled under. I know that we need new platforms. And I know that in this group there are some journalists, there are some computer scientists from your generation who will provide the platforms for sharing the experiences of those individuals who are marginalized, whether in science or economics or psychology or health. And there are political scientists and lawyers who will turn those experiences into legislation, policy, and legal precedents that will reflect the experiences of those routinely ignored or deliberately neglected. That's what we need. Whether it's in economics, science, health, law, or any number of other areas. You have an advantage, class of 2019. You have been schooled in queer, feminist, critical race, and intersectional studies and theories. You've had the benefit of Professor Steady in Africana Studies. You have the new way of thinking that we need, that the world needs. And I'm sure as Wellesley graduates, you have your own ideas about movements that you want to lead. And I am here to support you and as we together bend the arc toward freedom. That's what it means to pass the baton along. And I pass the baton, but I do not leave you. In closing, I would just say that I'm here because in 1991, under the glare of intense political scrutiny and media scrutiny, I shared more of the whole of what it's like to be a woman, to be Black, and to be a Black woman facing sexual harassment than anyone had done before. Certainly more than my grandmother or mother could share, and more, unfortunately, than women, many women and men and all people of all genders can share today. 28 years later, I have the privilege to speak my mind freely. Having found my voice, my ancestors' stories remind me that I must never take it for granted, and I must never abuse it. Today, when I look to the future, I look to you, and I am reminded by you that I must never, ever give up my voice, and I will not. So class of 2019, live, learn, and lead. You've lived, you learned. Yeah? Are you ready to lead? Yes, you are. And I believe you will, and I look forward to seeing where you will take us in the future. Thank you.
Professor Hill, I know I speak for everyone as when I say how inspiring, and I think not only the class of 2019, but I think we have our marching orders. And I think, are we up to it? Okay. Thank you so much. So over the past year, the Wellesley community engaged in the reflective process of value clarification. What began as part of a routine reaccreditation process, asking ourselves, who are we? What do we aspire to be? It will have ripple effects for years to come. The process we went through as an institution mirrors the one that each one of us undertakes as an individual. Each of us is called to decide the values we will live by. Each of us must make hard calls when our values come into conflict. Indeed, you have done this throughout your lives in ways both large and small. Such choices loom especially large at moments such as this one, which brings me to what I want to talk with you about today, and that is the concept of moral courage. Today, you stand at the cusp of a new life chapter. You've spent years preparing for this moment, and now here you are. Yes. I suspect you have a mix of emotions, happiness, pride, and excitement, yes, but also some anxiety and maybe some fear. How could it be otherwise? You're moving from the world that you know to uncharted land. How will you navigate this new terrain? Do you have what you need? Let me reassure you. The answer is absolutely yes. Class of 2019, you are extraordinary. Whatever you choose to do, I am confident that you can succeed. The question isn't what you can do, but what direction you will take. What will you seek to achieve, and how will you go about it? What will guide your decisions? What difference will you make? In the course of these past months, our community identified the following foundational values: intellectual discovery and excellence, gender equality, diversity, equity, and inclusion, connection and community, empowerment and social change, and integrity and academic freedom. And I think we heard those echoed through the morning. As our newest graduates, you now have a chance to carry these values into the larger world. This is both a gift and a responsibility. It's one thing to hold a value, to be clear on your beliefs, but living into your values is something else entirely. It requires you to move from belief to action, and it requires moral courage. So what is moral courage? The writer and activist Irshad Manji defines it as doing the right thing despite your fears. And researcher and author Brené Brown notes that the word courage once meant to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. This makes so much sense to me, and there is a reason why Anita Hill's memoir is called Speaking Truth to Power. As we celebrate your accomplishments, we also celebrate what you will carry with you, the values and community that unite us across time and space. Wellesley alumni have been described as the most powerful women's network in the world. Now, at one level, this speaks to the number of alumni who have risen to prominence in their professions and now stand ready to lend you a hand, the next generation. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Equally important are the deep friendships and profound connections. Knowing your community has your back, and most of all, believes in you. Today, I challenge each one of you to use these gifts well, to have the courage of your convictions and the courage of your values. For inspiration, you need look no further than the Wellesley community. There are so many powerful stories, and I keep learning new ones. To give you just one example, as I prepared for a trip to India last winter, I wanted to learn more about Wellesley alumni in the region. Some I already knew well, including the amazing women who would be hosting me, but others were unfamiliar. One of them was Nayantara Pandit Sehgal, Wellesley class of 1947. At the time, I knew little beyond the fact that in 2002, she'd received an Alumni Achievement Award. So I looked a little closer. I reviewed her accomplishments, her award-winning novels and political journalism, her service as a delegate to the United Nations General Assembly. I learned that during the 1970s, she'd opposed Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's crackdown on civil liberties, known as the Emergency, and ultimately fled the country. All the more notable as Indira Gandhi was her cousin. Then I did a quick Google search, just wanting to be sure I wasn't missing anything important. I was stunned to find this headline from just days earlier. It read, "What Nayantara Sehgal would have said if she was allowed to address Marathi literary meet." Now keep in mind that Nayantara Sehgal is in her 90s. And yet, here she is at the center of a national controversy. Why had she been disinvited to this prestigious event? I quickly learned that the answer lay in her perceived opposition to the Indian government. As she wrote in the suppressed speech, which was excerpted in the newspaper India Today, we are seeing that the questioning mind, the creative imagination, and freedom of expression have no place in the present political climate. And where there is no respect for freedom of thought or for democratic rights, writing becomes risky activity. At this historical moment, I suspect these words resonate with many of you, regardless of where you live. Sadly, we weren't able to meet during my trip, but her travel schedule was too busy. But we did have a lovely email exchange, and she told me that the speech was later published by the global writers organization, PEN International, for which she also serves as honorary vice president. So in sharing my thoughts about this alumna, I don't mean to suggest that you follow in her footsteps or in anyone else's, unless that path calls to you. At issue is the spirit of moral courage. Last month, I attended a moving on ceremony for this year's 3 graduating MasterCard Foundation scholars, and they sit amongst you today and are, yes, they sit among you today, and they're part of a global initiative to develop next generation leaders, primarily from Africa. Towards the end of the ceremony, those of us in attendance were asked for a single word to send off your 3 classmates with. Mine was strength. Today, I offer this same word to all of you. May you have the strength to live your values, to demonstrate moral courage when and where it matters most. You graduate into a world that is far different than the one I would have wished for you. Democratic values and institutions are under fire. Inequality is soaring with increasing concentration of wealth and power in fewer and fewer hands. For women, the obstacles are particularly daunting. Unequal pay, sexual harassment, inadequate access to health care, including reproductive health services. These are just, yes, these are just a few of the landmines that lie before you. And for many of you, these are magnified by other identities: race, class, religion, nationality, disability, and gender, just to name a few. Yet, having watched you over these past years, one thing is crystal clear: your strengths outweigh your vulnerabilities. You are stronger than you know. You are stronger than you know. If you remember nothing else from my remarks today, I hope these words stay with you. It's so easy to confuse discomfort with danger, but unless you learn to distinguish the two, you will always sell yourself short. And this is not only shortchanges you, but it also shortchanges the world. The greater the challenge, the more urgent it becomes for you to step into your power, that you make the most of the privileges and gifts you've been afforded. Regardless of what else life throws your way, you will also and always be a graduate of Wellesley College. This, too, is your identity, and that is a wonderful and powerful thing. For all the perils of this moment, I see so much reason for hope. Take a look around you. All over the world, women are running for and winning elected office in record numbers, yes, including Wellesley alumni. We are joining forces to demand fair and respectful treatment, not only for ourselves, but for other vulnerable people and groups. Each of you is part of that. As you embark on this new chapter, I urge you to mine the full extent of your capacities, to defy not only the world's expectations, but your own expectations for yourself. I urge you to be defiant on behalf of your values. This is the essence of moral courage, and it's also at the heart of what it means to live well. The great writer Maya Angelou had this to say when she spoke at Wellesley's commencement in 1982. Of all of your attributes, your youth, your beauty, your wit, your kindness, and the list goes on, courage is indeed your greatest achievement. It is the greatest of all your virtues, for without courage, you can't practice any other virtue with consistency. Class of 2019, you have so many virtues. May you have the courage to live them. I am so proud of both who you are and what you've done. I can't wait to see the ways that you change the world. Congratulations. So, the moment we have been waiting for. Provost Shannon will now present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
In the commencement program, we have listed honors and prizes earned by many of our seniors. Although we will not read honors, as we call names for diplomas, we draw the attention of families and friends to this list and invite you to share our pride in the many achievements of these students. In addition, we recognize 6 student athletes who are unable to be at today's ceremony. Because they are representing Wellesley at the NCAA National Championships in crew. They are Amelia Ball, Mia Kalyaris, Anna Gaskell, Katie Livingston, Jocelyn Reel, and Alyssa Rivera.
Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise?
Madam President, it is the privilege of my office to present to you, on behalf of the faculty of Wellesley College, the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
By the authority of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, vested in the Board of Trustees, and by them delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts and admit you to all the rights, dignities, and responsibilities of that degree.
Catherine Abaldo. Megan Isabel Abarca. Aida Abu Zamzam. Jessica Abramson. Sabine Moira Duplanty Adamson. Oluwade Miladiola Alexandra Adeboye. Carla Gabriela Aguilar Jerez. Yesenia Aguilar Hernandez. Kemi Maronke Akonde. Kelechi Alfred Ibokwe. Dafka Alius. Melek Isayad. Helene Rachel Alt. Dina Ahmad Alzobi. Helen Mary Anderson. Abisayo Animashon. Kate Applegate. Simone Nicole Archer-Krauss. Hallie Rose Arnold. Sithika Mailabai Ashraf. Kaya Ashton. Faiza Sakina Aslam. Daniela Aspiazu. Michelle Bernice Atwood. Claire Ald Brokish. Kennedy Victoria Jones Austin. Zujaja Ayub. Christy Bay. Ashley Marcel Baker. Subha Banya. Camille Nicole Benson. Sitong Bao. Kaya Marie Barclay. Zohal Eltijani Bassi. Denise Becerra. Madeline Beck. Andrea Mia Behar. Tatiana Ann Bellamy. Lindsay Elizabeth Bennett. Marissa Maria Bennett. Clara Louise Berger. Marissa Claire Bayette. Ariamika Vijay Bhatia. Emma Bilbrey. Kate Thorburn Bird. Natalie Decelia Bolduc. Alexandra Bowles. Matilda Borio. Mika Ann Boberg. Sarah Jane Broadwolf. Leah Brown. Nolan Bell Bryant. Jessica Boo. Christina Evelina Buffo. Sofia Buitrago. Tara Bolchandani. Julia Christina Alexis Burmeister. Abigail Burris. Brenna Butler. Mary Caldwell. Anna Rachel Caldwell Overdeer. Daniela Camelo Pinson. Jacqueline Campos. Ashley Herschel Sarai Cabajal Rodriguez. Emily Grace Carey. Chloe Carlander. Alexa Carrington. Emma Olivia Carter-Lamarche. Sienna Delia Casey. Laura S. Cassidy. Maribel Jasmine Castaneda. Anna Clay Cawthorn. Amelia Rose Cecilia. Zeynep Jehan. Alejandra Delaney Chason. Erica Beatrice Chalmers. Eliana T. Chalfin. Catherine Chen. Cynthia Sin Yi Chen. Evelyn Chen. Grace Chen. Sydney J. Chen. Scarlett Seyon Chan. Mally Chetkov. Amber Chi. Kimberly Chia Yen Min. Sunny Chiang. Jennifer Chen. Michelle Encien Fedele Chin. Julia Yuli Cho. Haley Lynn Krobach. Jennifer Chung. Joyce Chung. Angela Ann Coco. Blake Ellen Cohen. Margaret Ann Collins. Victoria Leaf Condon. Margaret Connolly. Dominique Copeland. Eilish Mairead Corcoran. Claudia Rose Corrigan. Anne Coyne. Mira Craig Morse. Louisa Page Crane. Lindsay Michelle Cruz. Alexandra Kaylee Cronin. Cassandra Cronin. Melinda Christina Crowley. Tiana Amanda Duvantra Crump. Diana Cruz. Jia Ming Tsui. Rachel May Cummings. Miranda Curtis. Sachi Dalal. Sita Dandika. Catherine Elizabeth Davies. Madeline Alejandra Davison Sanchez. Emma Louise DeGodi. Haley Nicole Den Elzen. Shannon Dennehy. Jordan Marie Davician. Tamara DeShong. Aislinn Diaz. Catherine Christine DiGennaro. Alexandra Carolyn Dion. Francesca Dong. Abigail Donahue. Mary Elizabeth Dubard. Eva Jack Duckler. Adeline Ducrest. Emma Sachi Duncan. Taylor Madison Duros. Sophia Jean Louise Akins. Chika Destiny Egbuzier. Ida L. Cohen. Rowan Ellis. Lena Angbretson. Samantha Marie English. Maddie Evans. Anna Farrell Sherman. Madeline Lucy Farris. Paola Marie Favela. Dana Ellen Fine-Schaefer. Aviva Feldman. Jesse Fang. Keolani Tweelin Finnegan. Elizabeth Shea Furman. Linnea Fisher. Alyssa Rose Fishbein. Jacqueline Elizabeth Floyd. Margaret Olivia Flynn Sapia. Charlotte Isabella Francis. Hannah Brooks Friedman Bell. Miranda Sachiko Fry. Yuriko Amy Fukumura.
Irene Marie Galerno. Anani Anoa Galindo. Madeline Ang Gainey. Catherine Gao. Genevieve Blackwood Gary. Chloe Lane Garza. Emma de la Peña Gelman. Caroline George. Grace Marie Gilbert. Carisha Mariah Gillespie Brown. Alexi Monica Giroud. Catherine June Glauchevich. Heather Gluck. Shinting Gong. Maria Gonzalez. Loisel Gonzalez Baez. Catherine Helena Grace Gooding. Elise Griffin. Tabitha Sky Villaluz Gruendijk. Xinyu Gu. Anne-Marie Guerrero. Alexandria Guo. Kanika Gupta. Kate Hansen. Michelle Sunwa Hansen. Siru Sissy Howe. Miranda Rose Hardy. Ananya Lakshmi Hariharan. Margaret Harney. Kathleen Harrigan. Jennifer Harris. Abigail Francis Harrison. Darlene Harsono. Mina Francine Hattori. Madeline Ann Houghton. Paige Allison Hockey. Abigail Corinne Heiser. Empress Niambe Helwig. Ingrid Anna Henderson. Mariana Hernandez Barroso. Hannah Elizabeth Hicks. Olivia Sai Hicks. Samantha Hong. Katie Hoflinger. Maxine Cecilia Hood. Kelly Ann Hoover. Sydney Catherine Hopper. Amy Cherning Ying Xu. Justine Su. Roseanne Hu. Dominique Wei Wong. Jennifer Donchen Wong. Justine Huang. Anna Elizabeth Huddleston. Samantha Erin Huey. Anna Hunter. Rachel Chungmei Huang. Rachel Huang. Belize Inamahoro. Vivian Lee Eisenberg. Yuna Ishikawa. Emma X. Jackman. Michelle Nicole Jackson. Hannah Nicole Jacobs. Esther Jaffe. Sarah Junn. Gabrielle Jers. Yashna Javeri. Amy Joyce G. Ruth Jiang. Amy Silin Jin. Subin Angela Jo. Sunidhi Joshipura. Hawa Maimunatu Kalon. Gina Kariuki. Vipassana Karki. Manaswi Kushup. Alexa Kasner. Charlotte Kaufman. Mackenzie Jordan Kay. Francesca Keller Sarmiento. Sarah Horan Kearns. Alexandra Myrak Q. Sojin Ki. Malian Killingbeck. Anne Claire Kim. Ashley Jiyoung Kim. Jenny Kim. Rachel Kim. Sajong Kim. Stacy Sujin Kim. Tessa Kim. Lumi Kinjo. Christina Klein. Julia Blair Klugertz. Remy Kobayashi. Camilla Kazera. Jamie Ann Kadera. Prapti Koirala. Sophia Margaret Korditsky. Parul Kaul. Juliana Bernadette Khoury. Alyssa Joy Krantz. Shelby Naomi Krantz. Daniela Kremamin Arroyo. Atham Kuji. Erica Mai Kusaka. Ju Young Kwok. Urim Lynette Kwan. Emma Catherine Lebrec. Dominique Simone Lafontaine. Lauren Beryl Larson. Fiona Lau. Ji Yoon Lee. Catherine Lee. Danielle Lebu. Julia Margaret Leslie. Rebecca Sayo Liu. Jamila Andrea Lewis Horton. Alice Lee. Angelina Lee. Lucia Lee. Michelle Ray Lee. Mira Lee. Sophie Lee. Teresa Lee. Alyssa Ying Lee. Zujing Lee. Sabrina Leong. Rosalind Leong. Emily Liao. Haley Liebenow. Sahi Lim. Karina Lim. Mariah Lin. Brianna Lino. Gabriella Latong Liao. Liu. Susan Liu. Victoria Liu. Zushia Linda Liu. Veronica Locker. Elizabeth Angela Loizides. Ixchel Iran Lopez. Jacqueline Lopez. Marina Nayar Lopez Pabon. Brianna Love. Maya Ludke. Camille Lukoshute. Emma Lurie.
Elaine Ma. Xiaoyi Erica Ma. Liana Malin McDonald. Lydia McKay. Catherine Madsen. Emma Mary McGee. Alyssa Mackley. Sabrina Catherine Malik. Melissa Maciel Benitez. Natalia Marquez. Frances Marie Martinez. Eugenia Martinez Jaime. Layla Masota. Janae Matthews. Hannah Susan May. Liliana Mayorga Paseas. Haley Katrina McAfee. Thessaly McFall. Laura Elizabeth Stark McGeary. Jillian Mary McGuire. Madison Christine McLaughlin. Casey Melton. Ratika Menon. Shannon Elizabeth Muse. Tarini Miglani. Brianna Gabrielle Miller. Casper Miller. Natalie Margaret Miller. Ariel Maria Metropolis. Lily Moore. Sarah Shireen Moynathan. Okay. Julia Rose Monaco. Yeun Chloe Moon. Yesenia Mora. Sally Emerson Morris. Emily Nell Moss. Samantha Muller. Hannah Marie Murphy. Josephine Patricia Murray. Maya Kiran Nandakumar. Alejandra Narvaez. Pris Nazrat. Lucia Teresa Navas Shari. Kelly Ann Navikas. Cecilia Harrington Negron. Alyssa Newman. Alexandra Madison Moore Newman. Brenda Nguyen. Catherine Nikoloff. Jenny Jing Nia. Jennifer Ginika Nwako. Kindred Mayrose Obas. Courtney Kelly O'Brien. Christina Amada Okizi. And Elisa Okemi Okimoto. Safa Elizabeth O'Meara. Regine Ong. Chelsea Elizabeth Opolnik. Sydney Elizabeth Ortiz. Sandra Osei Frimpong. Jessie Ann Osgood. Mary Ann Ospina. Samantha Ostenso. Alexandria Brianna Otero. Grace Hyson Owen. Magnolia Pack. Karen Park. Ashley Patricia Para. Mira Sonia Patel. Margaret Adeline Pates. Veronica Pavlik. Emily Pasos. Bridget Ann Peak. Rainier Elizabeth Pearl Stiles. Mirdula Padada. Maria Lauda Peña Zabala. Ashley Payne. Jennifer Louise Pereira Lopez. Natanya Fagenson Perlis. Dacia Paula Persky. Miriam Chloe Pervez. Tu Fame. Nerland Phileas. Holly Elizabeth Pimprel. Noor Parani. April Poole. Alexi Ziomada Porras. Gabriela Maria Portilla. Stephanie Poveda Solorio. Laura Trimarco Preble. Hannah Cole Preble. Catherine Deitch Pugh. Anna B. Purcell. Elna Elise Purcell. Rebecca Soon Pyun. Yulin Xian. Hun Chao. Baraka Fariza Kader. Molly Kwan. Michelle Alice Quinn. Maniz Raman. Faith Elizabeth Rankin. Isabel Kennedy Raposo. Lila Rauji. Tanisha Rayamaji. Rosalind Elizabeth Ray. Walton Brooke Ray. Yasmin Courtney Reese. Charlotte Reed. Tiffany S. Wren. Julia Page Renfro. Luisa Sofia Reyes. Michaela Joan Ryle. Holland Rod Lee. Maggie Rivers. Christine Roberts. Edith Rodriguez. Emily Baker Rominger. Leonette Rosado. Aya Noelani Fujita Ross. Chelsea Lillian Roston. Isabel Runowski. Deborah Rowcroft. Halle Rubera. Majela Louise Roden. Six Rudolph.
Olivia Virginia Solomon. Phoebe Saltzbart. Colleen Sam. Andrea Sama. Samantha Candice Samoilenko. Jacqueline Agneta Sanchez. Juliet Sander. Lauren Angela Santo Domingo. Malika Sarupriya. Alexandra Saueressig. Meredith Ray Saunders. Laura Catherine Scanlon. Elissa Beth Shamil. Ariel Schoen. Jessica Schuyler. Gina Lee Scorpiniti. Josephine Sartoris Sion. Mikiko Senda. Hae-ryung Suh. Kiara K. Suh. Laura Sheets. Marissa Shen. Sarah Hyunju Shin. Megan Hoi-kyu Shum. Julia Simon. Aubrey Elizabeth Simonson. Amber Scarjune. Abigail Smith. Ileana Ariel Smith. Tabia Mariah Smith. Sarah Monroe Smith Tripp. Olaide Sode. Nia Morgaine Solari. Brianna Sedella Solon. Stephanie Danny Song. Madeline Jo Sorensen. Rachel Catherine Spire Bizanson. Sitara Shriram. Morena Day Jayla Stevenson. Samantha Marie Stewart. Jordan Michelle Stobbs Vergara. Kathleen Teresa Strawn. Olivia Marie Strobel. Karen Sue. Dorothy Sun. Jan Sun. Adrian Sipek. Adriana Lei-Jin Mok-Tan. Catherine Margaret Tang. Ryan Tang. Rhoda Kesua Tano Menka. Rachel Tao. Madeline Claire Taylor. Paige Tears Gladstone. Kavindya Thennakoon. Emra Gabriel Tebow. Annabelle Ruth Thompson. Mayla Thompson. Sadie Thompson. Luciana Christina Tiblier. Isabel Tai. Isa Talija. Havana Chelnyuk Tran. Miranda Tran. Cindy Tu. Lucia Tu. Chloe Griffin Woodrow Tucker. Caroline Turkanis. Stephanie Marie Uhlenbrook. Sabina Seti Unni. Rachel Putri Utomo. Veronica Guadalupe Valencia. Adriana Valle. Madison Noel Vanderclay. Alejandra Rodriguez Van Horn. Hannah Sivia Vaughn. Pia Vazirani. Vinod Velarde. Hema Venkata. Eleanor Vincent. Meher Vora. Ruth Helen Vordair Brugge. Khan An Vu. Fung An Alex Vu. Julia Wainwright. Azriel Dania Walker. Alice Wang. Xia Yi Wang. Karen Wang. Catherine Lee Wang. Sophie Heiyue Wang. Lucy Ann Wanzer. Kira Wardlow. Lauren Marie Watford. Leah Lahiri May Watt. Prawa Sariasat Watanavarankul. Olivia Wales. Hannah Weissman. Claire Kathleen Whitaker. Sarah White. Naomi Linda Whitney Hirschman. Tara Wilford. Janelle Williams. Safia Nicola Olivia Williams. Catherine Holgate Wynn. Sienna Rachel Wise. Sarah Nicole Wong. Madeline Rafoon Wood. Alyssa Woodruff. Michelle Mungchi Wu. Yuhan Wu. Doreen Wu. Sophia Chargay. Janan Coco Shao. Catherine Xia. Lily Cheng Shu. Sherry Shu. Christine Shanyi Young. Midori Tomizawa Yang. Sarah Yasser. Emily Ann Yaks. Kathy Yuhua Yi. Isabel Yick. Dasol Yoon. Zeynep Mateen Yazgur. Jennifer Chen Yu. Kashin Cindy Yu. Michelle Yu. Vivian Yu. Sylvia Del Carmen Zelaya Jovel. Jaime Zhang. Ray Shi Zhang. Vivian Duan Zhang. Sorry. Tina Zhang Yiting. Alice Zhou. Sai Chin Zhou. Ling Zhou. Crystal Zhu. Ariel Rebecca Zlotkin. Sitara Zuberi. Sophia Noel Zupants. Gwendolyn May Zwerko.
Congratulations and best wishes to the class of 2019. We salute you. Now, will you stand as you're able? It's our tradition to close commencement with the singing of the first and fourth stanzas of America the Beautiful, written by Catherine Lee Bates. Professor Bates was a graduate in the Wellesley class of 1880 and was a distinguished member of our English department. Demilade Adeboye from the class of 2019 will lead us in singing. Please be seated. Would you kindly remain seated after the benediction until the trustees, the faculty, and the graduates have recessed. I'd like now to invite Interim Dean of Religious and Spiritual Life, Amara Qureshi, back up to deliver the benediction.
For those of you fasting for Ramadan, hang on. We are nearly there. Ramadan Mubarak. In a moment, we each begin to take our first steps walking away as we came, one foot in front of the other. We know our bonds were formed by this place and time, but our bonds were transformed by courage, learning, laughter, and friendship. We have been transformed by compassion for our siblings, transformed by those who helped us to improve ourselves, transformed by reminders to use our privilege for the sake of justice, transformed by collaborating to make Wellesley even better than it is. Years ago, this community was formed here, and right now it is about to burst forward into the world. To witness it is truly awesome. Will you, with me, before we part, hold out your hands in front of you. See your life in your hands. Fill your heart with gratitude for everything you have learned and earned. See every experience that has meaning for you. See every face, every smile that made you feel you belong. Hold in your hands every experience that strengthened your integrity and showed you your values. May we cherish the last moment together, forever holding all that is in our hearts as a guiding light. May we breathe in gratitude for what has passed, compassion for what is, and hope for what is to be. Amen.